I don't know if anybody's watching yet. I'm trying to get on here on my other account so that I can see. Come on. Alrighty. Okay. There we go. Now, if somebody watches the thing, I can see the comments. All right. All right. I don't know how long this is going to be. And you can't see my face. Hi. It's either see my face or see the thing I'm doing. But I got this 12-inch brass bar. This will make 4 of the barrels. And I've got to make like 20 of these. So there's one that's done. But so since these are so long, I go in from this way. There we go. Yeah. Okay. So step 1 is to drill out the majority of the inside diameter. The pins that I'm doing are these EDC pins from Penn State. So this is a kit normally done with wood, and I'm doing it with brass. I had a Kickstarter. Hi, Lily. Yeah, I've got ads now. I finally made the big time. I think my AdSense is up to like $12. So, you know, I've made it. And never feel bad about skipping the ads. I skipped my own ads. But you know, every little bit helps. Okay, so I'm drilling out this this first little part here. This is a center bit, I think is what it's called. This helps get the hole started. So that just drills in like that much. All that does is make the next bit stay centered when I start drilling, because if you don't do that, once the drill bit touches this, if you don't have that center hole, it'll start skating all over the place. And we don't want that. So this bit is a, what size? What size? It's a letter C, 0.242 inches. It's right around a quarter, just a little bit less than a quarter inch. This light in the way. There we go. All right. Tailstock's tightened down. Here we go. So if you're wondering why I keep going back and forth with the bit, I do that so that the chips will come out. If the chips get crammed inside the flutes of the bit, then it'll swell, it'll cause heat, and it'll eventually cause this to seize up, and then my drill bit will snap off, and then I have to go to Lowe's and buy more drill bits. So I got it drilled about there. Now I need to move my tailstock in so I can go a little further. Chips aren't coming out from doing that, then I gotta pull the whole thing. See how those that are crammed up in there? A little bit more. Okay, so that's as far as that drill bit's going to go. So that's the main hole for the pen, for the ink cartridge to go through. Now I've got to drill a little bit bigger hole on just the end, about that far in. And that is done with a letter L bit, 0.290 inches. It has to be pretty exact because that's what the ferrules of the pen kit press into. I've marked on the bit how far I need to go. That way I don't have to stop and measure every time. Alright, so that's the first half drilled out. Now, I've got to turn this down to the size that it needs to be. You see how big it is here? So now I need to turn it down. This measurement on this is 0.450. 450 thousandths of an inch. Probably doesn't have to be that specific, but I like to be specific. So what I'm going to do, when I have this pulled out to where the length it's supposed to be, I use this live center to hold everything steady. Problem is, when I've got the live center on here, on the very end, when I get down to where I need to be, this part of the cutter hits the live center. So I'm going to turn the first, half inch or so down to the size that I want, so when I pull it out, I don't have to move this all the way down, and I don't have to measure quite as much. I measured this time, I won't have to measure then. So I'm going to check my measurement right now. Right now I am at 0.45. I'm already there. That was lucky. It's a good thing I didn't go any further. Yeah, how about that? So you can't see it from there, but there's on the little thing I turn, there are numbers, and I want to kind of set that the size that is correct. I want to set that to 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna run the forward and back to 0. So now it's too far away. So I'm going to use this one that moves in diagonally. I'm going to move it in until it's touching. Then I'll know. Thank you, Lily. Alright, so now I know that when I get this little dial to 0, that I'm where I'm supposed to be. Now, since I'm batching these out, I figured out a little trick. So this only needs to be this long, right? But I'm going to turn it down this long. That way, when I cut this off and I start the next one, this little bit is already down to the size that I need. Then I don't have to spend the rest of my day measuring. So this tailstock presses into here It's clamped into here, pressed into there. This holds it all steady so that when I'm turning, this thing's not going. And this lathe has this little track on the bottom so that I hit this little switch and it just moves all by itself. I just have to stop it before it gets to this or bad things happen. So, all right. So yeah, this is the boring part. But we just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until I get it down to the size. Shouldn't take too long. I'm have to make about 5 more passes and it'll be down to the size. Also, these little chips that are flying off, they fly right into my hand and they're hot. Well, they can't be hot. If I cut too deep, then they're really hot. So I'm not cutting. I'm taking it off about 10 thousandths at a time. Which, when you take off 10 thousandths from one side, it reduces the overall size by about 20 thousandths. Something that I learned the hard way. Alrighty. So I'm going to check my measurement, even though I know it's the right measurement, but I'm going to check anyway. And hang on. We are at 449. So we went 1/1000th of an inch smaller than we wanted to, but who cares? It's 1/1000th of an inch. No one's going to notice. I really wanted to try to make them all at exactly 0.451 because I'm a huge dork, and my favorite book is Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury, which is a book about a future where books are illegal. And I thought it would be funny if a pen was that same size. But, you know, whatever. Unless you get your micrometer out and check it, who knows? Okay. So now I want to move this thing out of the way. And this is the brass tube that comes with the kit. So this is what I've been using to make sure that my lengths are right. Now I did measure, and the exact length is 2.770 inches. But it's easier for me if I move the tailstock out of the way. Move this back. If I just take this and I hold it right here, flush it up using my finger, take a marker and mark it right there. And I do that 4 or 5 times around the blank. Now, if I was a real machinist, I would flip this tool post around because on the other side I have a parting tool. But the parting tool takes off like 1/8 of an inch of material. And I'm kind of short on material. I have to conserve as much as possible. So it's actually quicker, easier, and removes less material if I do this with a hacksaw. So I'm going to cut it off a little bit long, and that way when I flip it around, I can machine it down flat to the exact length. Also, if I did flip this around and use the parting tool, then this has been moved and it's changed. So when I go to flip it back around to use this cutter again, I gotta calibrate it and get it just the right spot. So it's faster for me not to have to move this. So that's where the hacksaw comes in. Snap her off. So that's all crooked and stuff. That doesn't matter because we're going to flatten it out. Before I take this out of the chuck, I'm going to go ahead and flatten this up so that the next one is ready to start. See, this one's all ready to go for the next one. Now I'm going to take the one that I just cut off and chuck it up in the lathe here. So I've got my little mark here so I know how far to go in with this. It's not an exact science, but it's a little bit more exact than when I'm wood turning. Okay. So we want to put the drill chuck back in. And what I did on the first half with the drilling it out, I'm going to do that all over again, except I don't have to drill as far in because the drill before probably went that far. It's probably hollow up to there, so I really don't have to drill in a little bit. So this is the C-sized bit. This one is the size as all the rest of the hole all the way through. And you see that's about how far I had to go with it. All right, now I'm going to go into my mark with the L-sized bit. Well, let's take the drill bit off so we've got room to take the barrel out. All right. So look, there it is. That is ready to be sanded and polished. And how long are we in here? I don't have a time. Well, let's go ahead and go over to the other lathe, and I'll show you how I sand it and polish it. Bear with me during the camera change. So here's my wood lathe. Where can I put this? Let's do this right here. Hold on. I'm almost there. Don't get car sick or seasick or whatever kind of sick. There. That's a pretty good. Just shed some light on the situation here. All right. So this is my wood lathe. I don't need the tool rest for this. And I don't need this. I didn't have this set up already. But I do need a live center, and I need to take this off. Oh, good, it wasn't tight. Put my chuck. All right, so I made this little guy here. This little guy will go into the jaws. clamp her down there. So now I can just pinch this. The little cones will go into the holes, like so. And pinch her down, lock it off. Make sure I got my lathe on the right speed setting, which I do. So this I've got going pretty fast because I want it to, I can't think of the word. Hold on, be right back. Okay, I was just checking my other screen to make sure that you could see it very well. Okay, so when I sand these, it's going to go pretty quick. First, I'm going to do 180 grit sandpaper. Then I'm going to do some 220 grit sandpaper. Then I'm going to get a new piece, but this is 600. Let's get a new piece. So the 180 is going to get rid of the major tool marks. See, it's all wavy from the metal lathe. So 180 is going to get rid of the tool marks. 220 is going to get rid of the scratches from the 180. 600 is going to get rid of the scratches from the 220. Then I'm going to take this Scotch-Brite pad, which is a red one. It's kind of a coarse Scotch-Brite pad. I'm going to polish it with that. That's going to take away the scratches from the 600. Then I'm going to go with some 4-aught steel wool, which is like the finest steel wool there is. Or, there might be finer, but it's the finest that I know of. Then I'm going to polish it. Normally when you polish metal, you take it off the thing and you take it over to the polishing wheel and you hold it, and brass gets really, really hot when you do that. This is going to get hot during this process. So, since it's hot, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the buffing compound that you would usually apply to the buffing wheel, and I'm going to apply it directly to the brass. Then I'm going to take a piece of towel and I'm going to polish it in really good. So, now that I've explained it, now you can watch me do it. Steel wool. You got to be really careful with the steel wool because it wants to like wrap around and get caught on itself, and that's no bueno. So I got to be really careful. Okay, so with all the friction from everything that I've just been doing, this thing has gotten really hot. I've never seen this trick before. I tried it the other day and somehow it worked. So I'm going to go with it. So I'm taking my buffing compound, I'm going to apply it directly to it, and I stand out of the way because it wants to sling it all over me and mess up my nice shirt, you know. So now that's on there, and I take a rag that's folded up several times, and I'll work it in. And if I see that I've got some lines in it or something, I'll do another little bit on there. And look, that's already turned to gold or brass colored. So we are removing material when we do this, but we're removing such a small amount that it's polishing. Polishing is technically removing material until it's super smooth. I'm putting a lot of pressure with the towel here. Got the towel folded up many times so that I don't feel the heat. Alright. And she's polished up. Does it look good on camera? I don't know if it looks good on camera. It looks good in real life. There are a couple scratches. I might go back and do this again. I was in a hurry because I was doing it for the camera. But, actually, you know what? Not happy with it. Let's go back. We'll go back to the 220. So since I went back to the 220, I'm going to go to the 600 again. Now when I'm doing wood, I usually wouldn't skip from 220 straight to 600, but on this it seems to work, so, you know, why not do it? Scotch-Brite. Now, if I didn't want this to be polished, if I wanted to just have like a brushed aluminum look, I would stop right here. See, if I stop here, it's got this kind of a matte finish. Little bit of marks from the thing. See, if I go this way, you can really see it. So I'm going to go to the steel wool. Maybe I would do the steel wool if I was going for a matte finish. Who really knows? I'm kind of talking out of my ass right now anyway. So most of the things I do in the shop, I just kind of wing it, you know. I don't ever really go in with much of a plan. But then again, I usually don't make 20 of the same thing in a row. This will be a first for me. There we go. The steel wool. Now that would be it. That's a nice brushed brass. Same thing you could do with aluminum, brushed aluminum. I'm sure you've heard of brushed aluminum. All right. So let's go to the polishing compound again because I do want it polished. Go to a clean side, get off the excess polishing compound. There we go. That is properly polished. Let me grab the camera here so I can give you a better view of it. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. You can kind of still see some little lines on it. I'll probably take it over to the polishing wheel. I don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet. But, so yeah, there we go. I'm going to leave that sitting there because it's really hot. I'll take you over here and show you the ones. Here's a finished product. Now this one doesn't look quite so polished. And you see there's some color variation on the clip there. That's because I took a torch to this one once it was assembled and kind of give it like an antique look. And I just wanted to try it and see if I liked it. You know, maybe one of the people who signed up will want the antique look. I don't know yet. There's a finished, mostly polished one. There's a finished, mostly polished one. I mean, they look a little bad on camera because I got fingerprints all over them. Here's what else I've gotten done so far. This was the first one that I made. And you see that little lip right there? That was me screwing up. So this one is a failure. I might use it for myself because I probably want one of these eventually. From turning all those, I have accrued this much shavings. It's not really gelato, it's brass. I got a pint of shavings from these pens. All right, so that's pretty much it so far. I don't want to press one together right now to show you how that part works. But what side's my camera on? So let's see, my timer says that I've been doing this for 45 minutes. So that means that it takes me about 45 minutes to make one of these. Sorry for all the jostling. Hope you don't get seasick. All right. So looks like I got more people watching now. So I guess I'll do another one. Give you a better view than I did last time. Is that good? Yeah, that looks good. All right. Brass bar was a 12-inch brass bar, but now I've taken off 3 inches, so now it's a 9-inch brass bar. So, for the people who are new to this, might have missed it, but are we going to see before and after? Oh, yeah. It might be hard to tell on camera, but this one is straight off the lathe. Let me see if I can get it where you can see it better. Okay, yeah, so it's got some tool marks, and you can, and I know you're not here, but I can actually feel the tool marks in it. Here's one that's been polished. Not a huge difference on camera, but there is a big difference in person. So it basically, you know, now it's smoother, takes away the tool marks. Yeah. So, alrighty. So now I've got my bar. This is one. So I just finished that first one, and since I turned it further than I needed to, I've already got it started here for the first, you know, inch, 3/4 of an inch, whatever. Now let's see if I can get it through here. Come on. Come on. There we go. It's two different. It is two different colors. So the brass, when it's like as soon as you turn it, is a little bit less yellow than the brass a couple days later. So after it oxidizes a little bit, you can see here where it's more yellow where it hasn't been cut compared to where I just cut it. And here's one I did the other day. You see it is a different color there as well. So the piece that's over on the other lathe that I just polished is going to get a little bit yellower in the next couple of days. All right, so this one already got started, but we got to drill it out. The drilling is the least fun part, but it's the most necessary because if I didn't drill it out, I couldn't make it into a pin. Have I mentioned that this lathe is like super old? This was, I believe, my grandpa's. Or if it wasn't my grandpa's, it's my dad's now. But it does the job. I want to buy my own eventually because, you know, I'm just borrowing this one from my dad. And this is very enjoyable, and I'd love to learn how to do more stuff on it. I want to make a pin from scratch without using the kit. But I'll have to learn a couple more things, like how to cut threads, because, you know, you got to thread this part in so that you can take the ink out. So when I make one, I could make it where this whole thing is solid, except for just the tip that screws in and just the click mechanism that screws in. But I haven't gotten there yet. That's next. That's 2.0. Nope, wrong way. So when I'm drilling, as long as I'm seeing chips coming out and it's not making a horrible sound, I know that it's not bound up in there. And that's one of those things that takes some learning. Also, I know it's not getting too bound up because the bit is not super hot. You know, from all that drilling, this would get really hot if there was too much friction. These are all things that just come with experience. You know, I've got a little over 2 years of wood turning experience and a couple of weeks of metal turning experience. So, so I'm not an expert. Everything I'm telling you might be totally wrong. Everything I'm showing you might be totally wrong, but it's working. So. So since I've already got it started on this one, I don't, like I said earlier, I don't have to do all that measuring and stuff now. I can just go ahead, pull this out to the length that I need, and get to going on it. Get to going. Get to turning on it. So I need it to be this long, and then I want to have a little bit extra so that the next one's already started. And I drop it down in the pan. Tighten her down. I have a tendency to accidentally leave this key sitting right here, and that's a bad idea. If I leave this in here and I forget it's in there and I turn the machine on, it's going to throw it somewhere. It might hit me, it might hit my phone, it might hit me. I don't know. We don't want that to happen. So I have to remember to pull this back out every time I use it. Tighten this guy down, lock her in. And then one thing I do want to double check before I get started is that I've got my dial zeroed the way I want it zeroed. Because sometimes I'll knock this one and it'll screw it all up. So Okay, so there's still a little bit of a lip there, so I guess I didn't have it zeroed in exactly. So I'm going to go just a little tiny little bit more. I mean, it's probably... Okay, so this part is at exactly 450. This part's at... Well, I thought it was. Oh, okay. So it's like 1/1000th of an inch, right? Doesn't sound like a big deal, but you can feel it. You can feel it. You can feel 1/1000th of an inch. So you still kind of feel it, but it'll come out in the sanding. Alrighty. How many people we got watching? We're down to 3. We were up to 5. Now we're down to 3. It's okay. That's alright. I know this is kind of boring. Hell, I'm a little bit bored. Normally I would have music playing to keep myself entertained. Marking the links again. Normally I would have music playing, but I don't want to deal with copyright strikes right now. And I wouldn't be able to talk to you if I had music playing. I said this earlier, but if you're new, if you just got here, instead of using the parting tool, I use a hacksaw. Because for me, it's actually quicker and easier. And I don't lose as much material. Go ahead and flatten off for my next one so that my next one starts out easy. Now this one I cut pretty far away from the line with my hacksaw. I probably lost just as much material as I would have with the parting tool, but it's alright. I was a little distracted by you. It's all your fault. Blame yourself. I'm kidding. This lathe is making some noises. It's all right. Drill chuck, or Jacob's chuck, whatever you want to call it. Center drill. Center bit. I don't know the names of things. I just call things what they do. Sometimes that turns out to be the name of the thing. Get this out of the way a little more. Well, how about it? There we go. You sleep yet? Everybody sleep yet? It's just like an ASMR, but really effing loud. Do this first. For some reason, the drill bit looks like it's not centered, so I'm gonna pop this sucker off and pop it back on, just in case. Don't know if it helps. Makes me feel better. And there's another one, ready for sanding and drilling, or sanding and polishing, whatever, you know what I'm saying. So, I'm not going to do the polishing again. I'm going to try to knock the rest of these out. And we're probably over an hour into this, so let's check the time. Oh, 68 minutes, 29 seconds. So, I think that's about it for today. I'm going to... Hey, what's up? Oh no, the front camera. I didn't even like pretty myself up for this. But anyway, can I clamp this onto something? No. I'll just have to hold it. Hi! So, does anyone have any questions? Your friendly neighborhood expert, not really expert, is here. No, anyone? Any questions? I'm looking on the other screen to see, because I can't see the chat on this guy. If you want to see what I'm talking about, here's some Inception. Here's the... Here's what I've been using to see the comments. Where's my... There we are. So, I'm one of my viewers. I'm actually logged in with my other channel, my my music channel. You should check that one out. I'll put a link somewhere. I don't know. Go to my last video. There's a link at the end. Towards the end. There's a link. I don't know. Whatever. Or if you just look up Joe Pierce, if you just search Joe Pierce, you get like 50 people, right? There's a lot of Joe Pierces, right? I'm still the best one.
But you'll see the link. If you search, you'll see this channel, Joe Pierce Maker. My other channel is the Joe Pierce Project. And on that channel, I do some covers of songs. You know, like I've done 3 or 4 now, mostly metal covers. The latest one I did was the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Can't Stop. I did a metal cover of that one, and I liked it. You might like it too. So search in the Google, not in the Google, in the YouTube search thing, search Joe Pierce, Can't Stop, and then you should see it. But anyway, I gotta go do some stuff. I gotta finish up some more of these pins. I gotta call my mama. It's Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And thank you for watching, and have a great day. I don't know how to end this.